Bitaxe Maniac back up in the mix. Gonna answer a question I got about how I get these little Bitaxes to do good numbers. This is one of my little guys that I've been experimenting with because it actually had problems. So I've been messing with it. It sits on my desk. I'm hoping I know everybody's into Bitaxes right now because the one just hit the lottery. But this is the little guy we're working with today. Full disclosure, I've tried to make this video multiple times, but I don't know how to use my phone. So what I want to do today is tear this little Bitaxe down, and over here in the Bitaxe part shop, when you tear one of these down, when you get one, if you get one like the one I have with the case on it, you want to get copper heat sinks, and you also will need some copper plates. Let me see if I got more plates. Bear with me, I'm on the phone here. I used to do all the good editing and stuff like that, but yeah, you want to get these copper plates, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. I'm going to prop you guys up on a roll of tape because that's the kind of stuff I do nowadays, because I don't have no special equipment anymore. I have it, but when I retired from YouTube many years ago, it just sits dormant. Alright, so just a refresher, here's where we are. Looks like we dropped down on the live, but we're at 151 on the average. Here's the little Bitaxe in question that I've had to redo the firmware multiple times for some reason, because it would just stall out for no apparent reason. So I tried every firmware again and went back to the newest one, and now it's jamming. All right, so down to the nitty gritty, here we go. So I buy these DTV Bitaxes off of Amazon. I'm sure you can get them other places, and I get them because they got this case on here, and I figured I can do what I wanted to with airflow. So you can see all these vents I have taped off. So the first thing you want to do when you get one of these is don't even plug it in, because it's going to overheat. First thing you want to do is take it all apart and do exactly what I'm about to show you. So this is the tape that you want to do to block off the vents. You want to leave the USB open and your power connector, obviously. This one's not drilled out right here. Usually I drill these out so you can fit the big aftermarket connectors through the hole there for the aftermarket power supply. I forgot to drill this one out. But yeah, you tape, that's the tape configuration along the sides, and then on the bottom you want to tape here, but leave the USB side open. That way all that air comes across the voltage regulator, and you could probably get away with taping up a portion of this and really squeeze that airflow right out across and out these other holes, and across even out of the power connector hole. All right, so that's the first thing that's going to need to be done. It's going to all need to be taped off, or take it apart first, whatever you're comfortable with. But when you get these, take the feet off. I'm going to try to run through this real quick here, because I know I can drone on if left unattended, and my wife is not here, so I can sit here and say all kinds of crazy stuff. All right, take the feet off. You got 4 screws. Now bear with me because we're doing it live. I should have got a screwdriver, electric screwdriver. I wish I could edit some music in here. Some Benny Hill or whatever that game show music is. The dun 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 Okay. So here we go. Oh, god dang pistols in the way. Don't blow off, you son of a bitch. Alright. Ooh, almost knocked you guys down. Here's the configuration on copper heat sinks. You got some dots right in the middle of all these solder joints. You want to get a copper heat sink on top of this little cluster of dots, but you don't want to get it on top of the solders because it actually won't sit down on the board flat. So watch that. Of course, you want one here on your voltage regulator, and I found that these little ones work just fine. Some people put heat sinks on the controller. I don't. There's also a cluster of pins here under this heat sink. You'll see a cluster of pins. I put a heat sink on that. And then for the biggest issue with this one is this heat sink. When you first get this, you want to take this whole heat sink assembly off. And on the bottom of it, this heat sink is painted. So you want to get all the paint off the bottom of it. You're going to take it off, get all the paint off, clean it. And then the reassembly order is going to be, that's where the copper shim comes in. So you're going to clean your chip, thermal paste the chip, put the copper plate on the chip. And then you're going to put thermal paste on top of the copper plate. And then you're going to set your whole fan assembly down on top of the copper plate. And let's see if I can get you a good picture here of the, I don't know if you can see, it looks like it's just thermal paste. But between that chip and this heat sink is a copper plate with thermal paste on each side. That will turn this heat sink into something usable. And the reason why I went through the trouble of trying to keep this heat sink in this fan is because it works perfect with the cover, which you will also have to modify the hole for the cover. So right here, all around here, you're going to have to Dremel or file some material out all the way around. Every little bit needs to be drilled or Dremeled, filed, because what happens is when you put your assembly back together, if you don't file the material off, let me see if I can get this back together. If you don't file any material off, it rubs the side of the fan when you put it back together, and it throws the fan off because this fan is on springs. So it throws it out of center and actually pulls a portion of your heat sink away from the chip. So it's extremely important to get rid of material around this fan, on the cover around the fan, so it doesn't push on the fan at all. Then you got to be careful when you put it back together, because when you set it in there, it could get caught like this. It'll actually look like it sat down in there, but what it's actually doing is it's caught on the side. And then you'll bolt it all back together and you'll pull your fan. It'll pull your fan to the side, and you'll fire it up and it'll go to an instant overheat. So make sure when you put this back together, you got rid of that material. You set the fan in the hole real nice and square. Put everything back together like it was. And I don't think you need any more explanation than that. Plug it back in, and now you got yourself one badass Bitaxe. Bitaxe Maniac out.